Hello and welcome to another Royal Reviewer channel episode, and today is Thursday the 16th of April 2020, and of course I have a selection of royal stories to bring to you. I would like to start updating you all on the painting that Zara Tindall made of her horse Toy Town, which she has been auctioning in aid of equestrian relief. The auction finally closed and the winning bid was £5,700, and the highest bidder was named as a Jonathan Sweeney. So congratulations to you, Jonathan. I think you have made a really great purchase. Also, I revealed in the last video that Mike Tindall, Zara's husband, of course, was auctioning off his England rugby shirt. That actually fetched £800 and went to Anonymous and had 51 individual bids. Also, I shared with you on the channel a video message which Prince Edward, the Earl of Wessex, put out regarding the Duke of Edinburgh Award. Now, obviously, the Duke of Edinburgh Award was started by Prince Philip, the Duke of Edinburgh. Of course, Prince Edward has been involved with the Duke of Edinburgh Award for many, many years now. He says in his message, congratulations to the 12,468 incredible young people who have achieved their D.of.V. Gold Award in the last year. Although the official award ceremonies couldn't go ahead this spring, we hope you take a moment to celebrate. And of course, if you haven't seen the message, it is also available on the royal family social medias, but also available on my channel. Also in the video, there were a host of familiar, famous faces congratulating all of the recipients. I'd like to share with you a little bit of news about Princess Anne. This afternoon, the Princess Royal spoke to Canadian Surgeon General and Commander Major General Andrew Downs. Her Royal Highness is Colonel-in-Chief of the Royal Canadian Medical Services, and I have a letter to read that she wrote. The letter reads, "To the members of the Royal Canadian Medical Service and all members of the Canadian Forces Health Services Group, in this time of uncertainty and concern, I extend to you my sincerest gratitude for your enduring commitment, professionalism and courage. You are the inheritors of a long legacy of providing outstanding healthcare to the nation in times of peace and war. I am confident that you will face the unprecedented COVID-19 challenges with the same steadfast resolve that has earned you a deserved reputation of excellence. The increased demands of your role during this period may cause added strain on family members. I am grateful for their support as it allows you to accomplish your mission. I encourage you to take time to maintain your own health and nurture your personal relationships. Your ability to remain adaptable and positive in response to the evolving situation is critical. It is this resilience that will help you successfully navigate this crisis and continue your outstanding service to Canada." The message was also released in French. Also, being Thursday, we have this week's Thankful Thursday post from the royal family, and they say, "Every Thursday we want to thank and celebrate the essential public service workers keeping our nation going. Let's recognise all those keeping the UK's logistics and transport network running." The transport networks are so vitally crucial at this time, so I applaud the royal family for celebrating this sector. As you may be aware, Britain has been converting large public stadiums within the UK into additional hospital space. The initial Nightingale Hospital in London was opened by the Prince of Wales via video link. There has also been a Nightingale Hospital opened in Birmingham, and that was opened by video link today by the Duke of Cambridge. I have news from Sarah, Duchess of York. She has actually launched her own YouTube channel, so welcome to YouTube, Sarah. And she made a post on Instagram saying, "Excited to be launching Storytime with Fergie and Friends on my new YouTube and Facebook app channels. A traditional children's storytime every day to help keep them entertained during lockdown. I'll be reading both my own stories and others and asking friends to join in. It's all free and just for fun. There will be a new story posted every weekday at 4 p.m. and a longer story time on Saturdays. I so hope you enjoyed them, and they give some of you something new to do during this difficult time for everyone." And of course, she shares a link to her YouTube channel, which I will share in the description of this video. Also included a photograph of her recording the message. She is surrounded by flowers, there's a unicorn, stuffed toys, The garden is in the background. Now we think this is the garden of Royal Lodge in the background. She is presently in during lockdown. During a video chat made for the Anti-Slavery Collective, Princess Eugenie gives an update on her father-in-law who has been in hospital suffering with the effects of COVID-19. He is now out of hospital and recovering at home. Today we are going to be talking about the donation that Harry and Meghan have made to Feeding Britain, which is a charity which organises daily hot meals for those in need. I'll be reading a little bit more about that charity in a moment. But Harry and Meghan have pledged £90,000 from the excess broadcasting fees, which the BBC has now made available to donate to whichever cause or charity they see fit. This story was originally broken by Town & Country magazine here in the UK on April the 15th, 2020, and the article was written by Victoria Murphy. And it says that Harry and Meghan have arranged for the money generated from their wedding broadcast to go towards feeding hungry children during the coronavirus pandemic, which of course we are all facing at the moment. So of course any donations of any kind are always welcome. The couple have pledged just over £90,000 to the charity Feeding Britain for its programmes across the UK, which provide families in need with hot meals and food packages. The funds have been called a godsend by the organisation's National Director Andrew Forsey and come from the excess profits from the BBC's royal wedding broadcast. Harry and Meghan are of course on very good terms with the Archbishop of Canterbury, Justin Welby, who presided over their marriage nuptials. And of course he is president of Feeding Britain. Now Harry and Meghan have told him that they wanted the money to be donated to the organisation during a phone call held around the time schools closed here in the UK. A spokesperson for Harry and Meghan have said that they are delighted to see the money go to such a good cause. It had been agreed at the time of Harry and Meghan's wedding that if there were any excess profits from the BBC broadcast, that money would go to a charity nominated by the couple. Forsey says that the donation will help Feeding Britain to sustain their programmes until schools reopen. The social and economic consequences of coronavirus have sent shockwaves across the Feeding Britain network. Families living in poverty who were already struggling to access and afford food have been put at an even greater risk of hunger, and that is what he said directly to Town & Country magazine. He added that the money, which is expected to arrive this week, will keep breakfast, lunch and dinner, so 3 square meals, on the table of many tens of thousands of children across their network. Feeding Britain works across 12 areas in the UK to pilot new approaches to solving hunger. During the COVID-19 pandemic, the charity is also forming new partnerships in London and Scotland and is running an emergency food programme providing hot meals and food packages via home delivery and collection points to those in need. Harry and Meghan, of course, have experienced Feeding Britain directly themselves when last January they visited Feeding Britain's first citizen supermarket in Birkenhead. Forsey also added that the magic they left on the town that day has been carried forward through this very generous donation. Harry and Meghan, of course, announced this donation via a spokesperson, and the spokesperson said that the couple were moved to hear of Feeding Britain's efforts to provide support during the ongoing coronavirus crisis. They add, the Duke and Duchess were able to speak to the Archbishop recently and were moved to hear all about the work Feeding Britain was doing to support people during COVID-19. On their visit to Birkenhead, he continued, they have particularly fond memories of their visit to the citizen supermarket in Birkenhead, especially the generosity and compassion of everyone working there to help others. They are delighted to be able to ensure this money is donated to such a great cause. Now, this is something which I actually found interesting as well, because amongst all of the slew of news reports in both print and digital, and of course other YouTube channels as well, I think there has been a little bit of misinformation going out there, and I want to try and make sense of all of that. And a BBC spokesperson has said this, which I want to dissect in a moment. So, a BBC spokesperson also weighed in on the donation, saying, As agreed from the outset, BBC Studios is donating all profit arising from the commercial distribution of the Duke and Duchess of Sussex's wedding ceremony to their charity foundation. So what we have to do is cast our minds back to the time of the wedding. And of course, pre-marriage, it was announced that the Royal Foundation of the Duke and Duchess of Cambridge and Prince Harry was also going to include Meghan. So after marriage, that would be known as the Royal Foundation of the Duke and Duchess of Cambridge and the Duke and Duchess of Sussex. Initially, there would have been some profits from the distribution and, for example, DVD sales of the wedding. At that time, Harry and Meghan had not split from the Royal Foundation. So it is my belief that the bulk of the money generated from their wedding went into the Royal Foundation to be distributed between all of the charities which had been supported by the Duke and Duchess of Cambridge and the Duke and Duchess of Sussex. What we are talking about now is the excess profits post the original profits. The BBC obviously notified Harry and Meghan that there were £90,000 of excess profits available to them to donate to, and it says here, their charity foundation. But seeing as Harry and Meghan are currently in the process of setting up their charitable foundation, and of course all of that paperwork and all of the setting up stage is still going on, that money was free and available. It wasn't going to go back into the Royal Foundation of the Duke and Duchess of Cambridge. So it is, of course, within that deal that Harry and Meghan had done with the BBC that it was up to them to decide who that money would be distributed to. So technically, it is still BBC money. So that money was never going to be actually held by Harry and Meghan to, for example, put back into buying personal things like finding a house or buying a car or any personal needs and wants such as that. That money was always destined to go to a charitable foundation or charities of Harry and Meghan's choice. But as part of that deal, Harry and Meghan get to choose which charities or organisations profit from that money. This was exactly the same for William and Catherine when they married. Their money was split between charities and organisations and initially ploughed back into the Royal Foundation, which also benefited Prince Harry. Therefore, I wanted to clarify that point, as I have seen here on YouTube and in print lots of misinformation being put out there. And in my view, lots of the misinformation which has been put out there is to self-serve and benefit individuals. However, what we should not do is let any misinformation get in the way of the fact that £90,000 has been made available at the request of Harry and Meghan to go towards a really deserving charity. We should not let misinformation muddy the water and detract from the positive news that this money will be helping those in need. I would also like to take this opportunity to dispel another myth which I have heard being put out there over the last couple of days, and that is that the royal family members do not make or haven't made private donations to charities. That is completely and utterly misleading. The Queen and Prince Charles and other royals have made numerous over the years private donations to charities and organisations which have suffered, for example, worldwide disasters. All you have to do is search Queen Elizabeth, Prince Charles or Prince William private donations. These are usually undisclosed amounts as they are their own private funds. This is their own personal money. Another area which I wish to clear up is, of course, the wealth of the royal family. Now, here in the UK, we used to include the value of the Crown estate in the monarch's personal wealth. We have not done that since the 90s, and that is because the Crown estate is held in trust by the monarch for the nation. It is not their own personal and private wealth. They cannot, for example, go and sell a valuable painting within the collection for their own benefit. It is not their own personal money. It is held in trust for the nation. The Crown Estate announced in June last year that it returned a record £328.8 million to the Treasury, and in 2016 the value of overall assets rose to an astonishing £13.1 billion, which of course is not the value of the Queen's private wealth. So nowhere near the £80 billion which was touted around the internet over the last few days. The Queen, according to the Sunday Times Rich List, which stopped counting the Crown estate as part of her personal fortune in the 1990s, currently values the monarch at £370 million, which is still a lot of money, but nowhere near in excess of 80 billion. The Queen also has a vast investment portfolio, and a percentage of this is donated to charity each year. So hopefully I've cleared up some of the misinformation which has been put out there over the last few days. So I think it's really important in these times when people are being very self-serving in what they are putting out there, that we are very, very careful who and what we listen to. Okay, so it's now time to end today's video. If you have enjoyed it, please give it a big old thumbs up. Don't forget to share on social media, and also do hit the bell so that you know whenever I upload a new video. Also, please do remember to subscribe to the channel. Also, if you want to support me beyond watching the videos, I do have a Patreon. I will include the link in the description. So from me in Shropshire, mwah to you all, and goodbye.